Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. If you know me, you know that I like to talk about the intersection of marketing, future of work, careers, Web3, NFTs, and community building. So this video that you clicked just now sits right in the middle of all of those, and it will be an answer to a question that I get a lot these days. It is very popular. Everyone is interested in Web3 NFTs, but they don't know how to kind of enter the space, how to apply for jobs, where to go to find these jobs that exist with Web3 companies. So very, very fair question. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about that. So I'm going to tackle this question in, I guess, 3 parts. One will be what I would do if I entered the space right now today, what I would do like in terms of steps, how to proceed. Next thing is if you need a resume or not, or how that should look like. And then number 3, where to look for these jobs is going to be the final part of the question. Anyway, let's get right into it. What I would do if I was entering the space right now today. This is actually what I did when I entered the space back in September, October of 2021, which is, well, pretty recent. I went down the rabbit hole of Web3 NFTs and I literally studied everything that was available in terms of playbooks, resources, blogs, YouTube videos, you name it, everything I could come across that was written about this space, not specifically from a marketing angle, because it is still today difficult to find material, resources, research that is specifically from a marketing perspective. That's why I want to keep making these videos for you on this channel, but that's just another topic. There's quite a limited number of resources that I could read, and I literally consumed all of them, staying late for many nights for a couple of months at least. And I literally went back to being a student, studied the culture, studied the language. This is also what I suggest you to do as well, like really go ahead and study the culture to understand what is different, like what makes this space different than Web 2. How are these people communicating with each other, because there is a different terminology, there is a different kind of lingo that they use. And that is where I started, literally. And then I went through all the material. I went through kind of conversations between people, conversations between influential people in this space. I joined their Twitter spaces, I listened to their podcasts, whatever I could get my hands on, I listened to it to understand the journeys of these people, the progress of projects and brands that are evolving in this space, the team members, the organization structures, the tools they're using, the language they're using, all of that. I'm gonna recommend you to study that as well. So that's number 1, like spend some really good amount of time on studying and understanding what this space is all about, what this technology is all about. Number 2 goes hand in hand with step 1. Again, it's kind of like the extension of your study or research, is joining communities, joining Discord communities, maybe Twitter communities. That is now recently becoming a little more, I guess, being used. But Discord communities are so popular and pretty common. So next thing I would do is join those communities. Even if I don't own NFTs from those communities, those projects, this is what I did, by the way. Like, I'm saying that I would do it, but this is exactly what I did. I would identify the top projects that I felt aligned with or that I could learn from, and I joined their Discord communities, even if I couldn't afford purchasing their NFTs. And I studied the structure of their Discords, like how do they design the experience for someone that just landed in that Discord? What was the conversation like for someone that just lands in that Discord? What can I learn there? Is it actually worth my money to purchase that NFT and become a member of that collection, that project? So this is the other piece that I highly suggest you to do. And then as you kind of get more familiar, you're gonna find yourself a little less frightened to be involved in those conversations, to participate, to ask questions, and that is going to teach you a lot more than what you've already started to learn through consuming that information. So, just from a read-only kind of angle to becoming a participant is the next phase, which you have to do. The next step I'm gonna recommend is to document your learning journey. This is more for marketers, I guess. It can apply to anyone that is kind of entering the space, whether you're a developer, whether you're a designer, whatever your skill is. I think you can do this, and I think this can contribute a lot to your professional growth, personal growth in the space. But documenting your learning journey using Twitter, if you're not an active Twitter user, which I wasn't, a couple months, if I rewind, I wasn't an active Twitter user. I was really much more active on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, but I wanted to be a part of that conversation. So I started to document my journey, started to talk about what I was learning, the resources that I was coming across. If I came across something really, really good, that really inspiring, really educating, then I would, shout out to the person that wrote that material or created that material. So start documenting the journey, start kind of tracking your progress just for maybe the sole purpose of learning and, making yourself a little more accountable with that learning process. But also, once you start doing this, because you're creating content, and if it is of value to anyone else that is maybe recently entering the space or that is kind of along the same journey as yourself, then you are providing value for the space, which means that you are already kind of finding a position and a voice for yourself. Like, from any angle that you look at it, I think it's very important, but especially for marketers, if you want to take a role, have a voice in the crypto, NFT, Web3 space, I think creating content is going to be essential. So start practicing that as soon as possible, as soon as you feel comfortable with it. Next thing I'm going to recommend is to actually raise your hand and volunteer for certain roles. So let's say that you're really good with Instagram Reels, okay? So you're good with like short form videos, and you've joined a couple of different communities, and you're seeing that they're using social media, but they're really active on Twitter, and maybe they're writing blog posts on Medium. But there is a potential to repurpose that content into short form videos. You see that potential, you're good at that, that is your skill. How about then to raise your hand and volunteer to say, I want to do this. Are you okay with me doing this? Especially if the project is a relatively new one, like evolving, the team members are not yet fully kind of established maybe, then I think the teams are going to be a lot more open to this, especially knowing that, behind the scenes I know this, so I can publicly share it, I guess, is that so many projects, so many groups, teams are looking for people with marketing skills that get NFTs, that get the Web3 space. So there is a huge opportunity, which is again why I make these videos and have a Discord group even. Yeah, now having mentioned that, I do have a Discord group for just to, I guess, unite marketers that are kind of along the similar journeys with each other, to learn, to have fun, to vent out whenever needed, and I guess to get inspired from each other's journeys. So if that is something interesting for you, you're gonna find the link in the description box below. No pressure to join at all. I really want only the people that are genuinely interested and want to participate to be in that group. I don't want to take more of your digital space or clutter your digital space with an extra group that you join. So, make it intentional. If it is interesting to you, then you're gonna find the link below. All right, what were we saying? Raise your hand and volunteer. So if you have that type of skill, if you have any type of skill that you think that team or that project needs, or there is a potential, maybe they're not seeing that potential, but you see that, they could extend it to Instagram, why don't you just raise your hand and ask for it, and make the suggestion, make a case for it maybe a little bit, and you will probably be welcomed with an opportunity, is what I'm guessing, if it does align with what the team wants to do and where they want to be present in. So this is definitely something that I would take a chance in, which is, by the way, again, something that I did for a couple of projects that I was really personally interested and invested in. I did raise my hand, I did talk to their founders, I told them I could support them with their marketing efforts and whatnot, and we did have some conversations with a couple of people, but then eventually, since my role is full-time with Ninja Squad, I decided that I don't want to or need to take on any extra work. But initially, when I was just entering the space and trying to learn and absorb as much information as I could and just practice and learn, that's what I did, and that did give me a lot of information and insight into what the space needs, where I could position myself, what are my strengths that I could be using in this space, bringing to this space, whatever. So that is something that I'm gonna recommend you to do. I see this all the time, people making wishes, like sending a tweet on Twitter and just saying that their wish is to land a job in Web3. And honestly, I've seen a couple of those tweets go viral and those people finding jobs like almost instantly. So it is definitely worth a try if you know what you want to get into. All right, let's move on with the next two parts of this video, which is firstly, do you need a resume? Do you need a CV, cover letter to apply for jobs in Web3 and NFTs? The last 2 points that I made in the previous section of the video basically indicate that you don't have to follow formal procedures to apply for jobs at this moment, at this given moment. This is likely going to change in the future when all of these brands, these NFT collections become more, I guess, professional, become more mature, they spend more time in this space, and they actually do like a formal process for their hiring. I think we could get to that point at some time in the near or maybe longer future. But at this moment, I think there is a lot of flexibility in terms of how you apply for jobs and how you find jobs. Sometimes you don't find the job, you create the job, is exactly the example that I gave in the previous section. So no, you don't necessarily have to go and find job marketplaces or job postings to apply for jobs. Though you can, some projects are announcing like official hiring or job posts. Sometimes they're only on their website and only announced within their Discord. So if you are a member of that community, even if you're not an NFT holder, once again, you will be able to learn about those opportunities firsthand as soon as they are available. But there are some other platforms as well. I think one is called like exactly Web3 Careers. There is an NFT project, which I'm gonna put the name of on the screen right now. I'm not a part of it, but when I read through what they're doing, it really resonated because they're kind of building like this job marketplace for Web3 through an NFT collection, through an NFT project approach. So I will have the information of that group, the project on the screen right now. So if you're interested, you can check them out. Web3 Careers, I think you're also going to be able to see a lot of job postings on LinkedIn as well. I've started seeing them. You can also search for, I don't know, Web3 Careers in Google, and that's probably going to bring up some leads, bring up some, new platforms your way. But what I personally would probably do is to identify the Web3 brands and NFT projects that are now forming or are already in the market, and I would identify which ones I would personally enjoy being a part of and I can see myself in their team. That is what I would do. That is just my approach. You don't have to do it, but I think this is going to significantly increase your chances. That is how I hired our marketing associate for Ninja Squad as well. If I receive a really good, like really solid case as an outreach message or email, and if we actually do need someone to support with those, with those skills or for that role, then I would prefer someone that has reached out to me in that form versus posting a job and going through the hassle of reviewing many resumes and whatnot, which is also what we're doing simultaneously for another role. And honestly, it is just a hassle to go through all those resumes and go through emails and LinkedIn applications and all of that. So just to give you a little bit of idea on how I see it, it doesn't mean that the whole industry sees it that way, but I think personal connections or personal touch points, making a case for what you want to do and why you want to be a part of that project is so much stronger than kind of just going out in the wild and looking through LinkedIn job posts. And finally, let's move on to the resume point, which I know I realized that I switched up the number 2 and 3. But anyway, so do you need a resume? Does it need to be different than what you use in, the Web 2 land? No, it doesn't need to be different. I'm now thinking like, do you actually need a formal job application process? Unless the company requires a formal job application, then you might not need a resume. So I don't know how relevant it is to get obsessed over creating or recreating or revising your current resume. But as a best practice, what I would suggest is to always have an up-to-date and decent looking resume that is designed with resume best practices. And if you don't know what those best practices are, there is some good content available on my channel. There's other content creators that talk about resume best practices, creating killer resumes, whatnot. So I would keep one and I would just have it ready in case it is needed, in case I am doing any sort of formal job application. And I hope that answers that question. And hopefully you found this video helpful, insightful, educative. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. If you want to share this with a friend that you think is going to benefit, please do so. That really supports the growth of this channel, the growth of this content, and amplifies what we're talking about here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye bye.